Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to show and tell number 134. Wow, it's been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks. Y'all. It's just water, don't worry. It's got some flavor drops in it, but it's just water. I've already filmed 2 videos today. Tuesday's video, which should have been day 15 through 20 of my advent calendar, and Saturday's video, which is day 21 through 25 of my advent calendar. So I've already been talking for a while. What's been going on here? Well, Banner is growing. He is putting on weight. When I took him to the vet, he was severely underweight. We need to get 2 pounds on him. He was a little under 3 pounds, and now he's a little over 3 pounds. So we still have a pound left to go. And I swear, like, it's not for lack of trying. This cat just doesn't eat that much. It's like some days he wants to eat everything. And then other days it's like, nope. And he likes things he shouldn't be eating, like human foods. And I made beef and banana pepper pizza for myself last night using my wheat-free thin crust dough or deep dish dough, depending on how I feel like making the pizza that day. I made thin crust again because it's easier. But yeah, I made myself this beef and banana pepper pizza, and that cat was over there stealing the beef off my pizza. But I can't get him to eat the cat food. He didn't eat the cat food that I put out at lunch. He just stole my beef. So Curzon was a pork cat. Pippin doesn't eat people food, just really expensive cat food. He won't eat like Friskies and stuff like that. The cheapest food I can get him to eat is the Sheba seafoods, like the tuna and the salmon. That's the cheapest food he'll eat. He is a bougie cat. And then Banner's over here. He'll eat chicken and turkey, and he does. There's a liver pack, and I want to make sure he's getting some variety in his food. So I saw if he tried to eat that. He ate that, no problem. But on these days where he doesn't want to eat cat food, he's over there trying to stick beef. Anyway, wonderful commentary from you guys on the circle and square granny pattern that I did. I do have part 1 and part 2 up. I shared the link in part 2 of how I joined my fall blanket together. So that is in there. That's by Hooked on Robin, I believe. Wonderful, tight, join as you go, granny square join. I highly recommend that join. It's a little bit to get your brain around it, but not really. It's a little involved to get your brain around, but once you have your brain around it, like, you just zip through the join compared to all the other joining methods. So I highly recommend that join. It does add an extra round around each square as you're going, so it's beautiful. Perfection. Love it. I'm still planning on trying to film the braided border that I did, but this might take a little bit of extra time because, like I've said before, I really need quiet in the house in order to do it. And right now the house hasn't been too quiet. So yeah. Also, and just chit-chatty stuff going on, quite a few of you guys asked how we came up with our pet names. So the 3 cats y'all have met on the channel over the years have been Curzon, who is no longer with us. He was named for a Deep Space Nine character, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. If you're not familiar, he was named for Curzon Dax on the show. Pippin is named for the Hobbit Pippin. So his full name is actually Peregrine Toot Penny. And then Banner, we tried everything that we could think of. There's another character on Deep Space Nine called Vic Fontaine because he's a tuxedo. We thought it might be cute to name him Vic or Fontaine. He didn't like those. He's got a really smart face and a very inquisitive face. So we tried Julian and Bashir. He didn't like those. He just wasn't responding to any of them. And I was joking about naming him Bannerman for the Sheriff and Stephen King novels, Sheriff Bannerman. Well, I started calling him Banner and calling him my little Banner Man, and that he responded to. I could go, Banner, and he would actually come. And then when I say, you're just so cute, you're my little Banner Man, he just eats it up. So he ended up being Banner. All of our cats have kind of chosen their names. When we were naming Curzon, we tried Baltar, Gaius, Worf. There's something else that we had done. And we've only had one other cat together. His name was Eddie, and he was appropriately in having this conversation, or inappropriately, named for the Meatloaf character in Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I couldn't figure out what to call him. Originally, we adopted him with his brother, but his brother was too timid, and Eddie was kind of a bully. And the one I really wanted was actually the brother. When I adopted them, I had gone to get Marcus, and I knew what his name was from the get-go. And he was named Marcus for the elder vampire in the Underworld series. That's what he looked like. I just could not describe. His name was Marcus. But we ended up returning him. He got adopted by an older woman, and they were a perfect pair together. But Eddie was just kind of king of his domain, and he kept running Marcus in between the glass and the screen on open windows, and running him behind things, making him hide. And then he'd be prancing around the house out in the open, king of his domain. And the only thing I could think to call him was Fat Boy, and because he was just a little chunky kitten, and he was a fat boy. And Troy was like, we really need to call him something other than Fat Boy. How about like Harley? And I was like, not really. Just wasn't it. And then he started thinking of like characters like that were played like Chris Farley and stuff like that, and none of those really worked. And he's like, why don't we call him Meatloaf? And I'm like, yeah. So then we settled on Eddie, and that just became his name. That was it. It took like a week to name that cat though, because we just could not figure out what he was, because he was just something else. So Eddie ended up being perfect. But yeah, all of our cats have very nerdy, weird name origins, and we've tried other names with all of them. Trust me. Pippin, when we got him, he was very much a Hobbit cat. We knew he needed to be a Hobbit name cat, but we gave him the choice of Merry and Pippin, and he chose Pippin. So he actually literally chose his name. So did Banner. So did Curzon. It was what they responded to. So technically, Banner is actually named for the sheriff of Stephen King novels, Sheriff Bannerman, but it also works because it could be Bruce Banner. And while we're a DC house with an appreciation of Marvel movies. DC needs to really try harder to make better movies, because their characters really are great. But we'll take Banner. I mean, it works, and he's very cute. Of course, at the end, as I'm talking about this, like, there are going to be gratuitous cat pictures. If I haven't been showing cat pictures here, then there'll be cat pictures and videos at the end. They're doing great together. They're both starting to now sleep in the bed together, but Banner doesn't sleep through the night. All of our cats to date have slept through the night. It's been so long since we had a baby kitten, though, because Pippin was already a couple months old by the time we adopted him. The vet, when we adopted him, they said he was 3 years old, but he was awfully small for 3 years old. The vet that we were seeing at the time said she was pretty sure he was no more than 4 months old when we adopted him. So 3 to 4 months old. But at that point, like, he had already been in a quiet household. He had already kind of had like a day-night schedule. He was diurnal, not nocturnal. Little rough with little Bannerman jumping in and out of bed all night. And then he wants to play early in the morning. Like this morning, Troy was out of town. So last night I was on my own, and I woke up at 5 a.m. with this across the bed and across the other side. And he's staying down at the foot of the bed, like, I guess in his mind, not being intrusive or something. But I opened my eyes, and this cat has all 4 legs straight out, tail straight up in the air, hopping like Pepe Le Pew across the bed. And he's hopping at Pippin, trying to get Pippin to wake up. And Pippin's like, dude, it's 5 a.m. I'm not ready to wake up yet. Can you slow your roll a little bit? Yesterday morning, he woke us up at 3. Apparently, he had tried to engage in play. Pippin shoved him off the bed. It's like, nope. And he rolled around on the floor playing with a squeaking, vibrating mouse toy. So we woke up to bzz, 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 squeak, 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 bzz, 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 squeak, 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 in the floor. So Mouse has been removed from the bedroom. And we're going to have to do a Mouse check before we go to bed so we don't wake up to that anymore. But he will grow up. It's a good thing he's cute. It's a good thing he's cute. These little tiny paws. So I think he may actually be the tiniest cat we've had. Eddie was a 15-pound long hair mixed breed. He was also a tuxedo. He was the perfect Sylvester tuxedo. If I can find a picture, I'll share a picture of Eddie somewhere on here maybe. Curzon was about 14, 15 pounds as well. And he was just like a stocky, muscular build. Pippin's 12 pounds. He's very light, lean, and spry. He's got a very lean build. But Boehner has very delicate feet. And if he doesn't, like, all of a sudden just have a massive foot explosion where he's going to be a petite cat. And he needs to grow into his ears because his ears are oversized for his head. And when you're brushing his cheek floofs back, you realize how tiny his head is. And then he's got these big old eyes with these huge ears. It's really, really cute. But we need to get him to grow into his ears because it's ridiculous. Funny. So I've spent 10 minutes just giving you the life updates around here. Let's dive into my basket of goodies. So on top, we do have a Michael's purchase. I actually went in there to buy some very specific things and then decided to look at the Karen stuff that I assumed was on clearance. And we did get some clearance insurance. Troy kind of looked at me and was like, that's all you're getting? Like, they're 50% off. Like, buy more. So my store still has a lot of Christmas stuff in general. So I was able to get 2 of the 6x6 Say Freeze paper pads for 90% off. And they're just very cute. I have some other ephemera and stuff like that coordinates to this. So these will just make some very cute little cards. And this is a double-sided 6x6 pad. So what I don't use from one side, I should be able to make work for the other side. But I did get 2 of those because, once again, I do send out a lot of Christmas cards. I'm not as good as some of these card makers that can get like 50 to 60 cards out of a 6x6 pad. Part of that is I'm lazy and don't want to go through that much work of trying to push it that far, to be honest. So I generally, I expect to get 24 cards per pack. And so that gives me 50 cards, assuming I don't have any interesting scraps. So I got 2 of these crystal cakes. This is the colorway Glittering Moonlight. And from back here, the colors are showing up great. I really wasn't interested in reviewing these because these aren't the types of yarns I normally go for. And these are yarns that have existed before. I can't remember who it is. It might have been Karen or it might have been Red Heart. But many years ago, there was a line called Symphony. And that's what this is. This is Symphony. But once again, that was like 30 years ago. I told you guys, I've been around the block for a while. So these are 64% acrylic, 24% polyester, 7% nylon, and 5% metallic. 8.5 ounces, 240 grams, 634 yards. And this is part of the Lush Living collection. They're very squishy and very soft. They're very pretty, but for $10 each, I was really not interested in buying them earlier. But for $5, I like the colors. The color is really, really pretty. So I did get these. I was actually thinking like evening wear shawl for that. I'm not sure because it's just really pretty. I don't think that's going to hold up really well for how I wear sweaters. Lubricate the vocal cords again. I did get 3 cloud cakes, and I intend to pair these 3 together. So we've got rich teal, graphite, and cloud gray. Cloud gray has been through it already. That's fine. But I did get the 3 of these to work with together because I really like those grays. So the cloud cakes are 100% polyester. These are also 8.5 ounces, 240 grams, but these are 760 yards. So there's a little bit more yardage in these. This one is a size 4, but it's one of those, it's a size 4 because it's floofy, not because it's like dense. The crystal cake is also a size 4. So this actually leads me to another interesting thing. That's all my like intentional acquisitions here, I think. I have gotten a couple messages recently asking me about yarn weight and why there's such a discrepancy between a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Now, I've addressed this before in videos, just kind of casually chit-chatting about this, but the reason why is because you have more than one yarn weight in each of those things. I am not a fan of the 1 through 7 now method of categorizing yarn. I never have been. I've always thought it was a bad idea because you're literally combining yarns with a dramatic difference in size. A true lace weight yarn is nothing like a sock weight yarn, and a sock weight yarn is absolutely nothing like a sport weight yarn. A sport weight yarn is nothing like a DK weight yarn. There are huge differences between each one of these steps. So if you go out and Google a chart, I can't show you the chart because they are intellectual properties of these companies, and I'm going to be honest, I'm too lazy to write out my own chart. But if you just Google yarn weight charts, you'll be able to see that like a size 0 yarn is light sock weight to lace. A number 1 yarn is fingering to everything up to sport weight yarn. A size 3 is sport and DK. A size 4 is Aran and worsted, which is the least different pairing of all of them. But there is a difference in the wraps per inch and how your gauge swatch is going to work up between an Aran weight and a worsted weight yarn. Then you have the 5 is bulky. Then you have super bulky, and now you have like jumbo bulky. I'm not a huge fan of these for a reason. And a lot of you guys who are newer to knitting and crocheting and yarn crafting in general, you're understanding the frustration that many of us have. So when you hear us specifically say worsted weight yarn, we really do mean a worsted weight yarn. And that doesn't mean that something like shawl in a ball shouldn't be categorized as a 4 based on the size needle you're expected to work with it with. I mean, it feels like, barely more than a thread weight, but it does floof and full as you work it. So really the texture of the yarn is adding to the wraps per inch on it. I don't mind that too much. It's because the yarn isn't intended to be worked on a size 3 needle. Or a size D crochet hook. It's meant to be worked with a H or an I hook. It's meant to be worked with an 8 or 9 needle. That's fine. That really doesn't bother me so much. But what does bother me are the yarn companies just using this new abbreviated thing, because your yarn size is wildly different. Now, the UK and Australian charts with the plies, with most of the American manufacturing that manufactured yarns, that really means absolutely nothing to us, because you can have a 4-ply sock yarn, and even if we mention the plies here, we're talking about literal plies of yarn, the individual strands that make up the twisted yarn. So, and with the expansion of styles of yarn we've seen in the last couple years, really starting probably around, I'd say 1998 to 2000, we started seeing a lot of different styles of yarn really coming out, especially through the North American manufacturers, where we're having the pom-pom yarns, the tassel built-in yarns, the railroad track yarns. We had a lot of novelty yarns, carry-along yarns that were being sold. The sequin yarns started coming out again. We had this mass explosion of these interesting textures that we started seeing here in the US. So, it is frustrating, I understand, trying to get the yarn weight thing down when Sport and DK are distinctly different yarns, but they're both size 3 yarns. So you really, it's something I recommend learning your wraps per inch. If you're new to this, pull up just Google yarn wraps per inch and learn the size of your yarn. And that's the best I can do for you on that one. It's already been 20 minutes. I haven't even gotten to projects yet. I was worried that these are notes that I made to, like, this is what I get for not filming a show and tell for 2 weeks. I did a tutorial last week instead. Anyway, what did I work on this week? I started this month's T Doddles Cozy Murder Mystery Cal 2022. So this, obviously, we're not doing blocks this year. We are doing she said it's 60 by 60, but periodically I'm adding extra rows. As I not yarn off the yarn wall with my tushy. I want mine to be a little bit longer than 5 feet. I want it to be closer to 6 feet, but I don't want to necessarily add huge blocks of everything. So I want my widths to really vary as we go across this blanket. So I'm using leftovers from my dad's blanket. I believe I already know who this blanket's going to go to. I am considering also doing Jada's. I did not bring them down here. Maybe I'll try to remember to shove them in my basket for next week. But I did buy myself a set of Tunisian hooks. I had more than enough points on Amazon with my credit card, because let's be honest, I have an Amazon problem. But I used my extra points for my credit card to purchase the Knitter's Pride Ginger Tunisian hooks. So I'm thinking about doing Jada's blanket as well this year, because I have lots of scraps and lots of leftovers from other projects. So I mentioned this a while back that I wanted to, and I don't know why there's such a huge color. I guess there's one in every section, but this one's very dramatic. Using some Premier Bloom and Hummingbird to make a hat and cowl set. I do have the cowl already cast on. I do need to double check my sizing for the hat. I did 100 stitches, did a knit 2, purl 2 rib for 6 inches, worked straight for like 5.5 inches, and then I put on a knit around, doing like knit 10, put a stitch marker, knit 10, put a stitch marker. And then for rows, the first 3 decreases, I did a decrease round where I knit 8, knit 2 together, knit 8, knit 2 together. Then knit 2 rounds for the first 3 decreases. Then I did a decrease round with a knit round for 2 decreases, and then decreasing every round. So I had a slightly extended decrease to do the decrease on this. So it's decrease, knit 2 rounds for 3 decreases. So if we're going from 10 to 7 stitches, 10, 9, 8, I think, right? Anyway, 3 times with the knit 2 afterwards. Then 2 times were decrease, knit 1. And then it's a decrease around every round until you do knit 2 together, 5 stitches, and nice little button at the top. I am planning on putting a hot pink pom-pom on this because I have hot pink pom-poms. Of course I do. Big furry pom-poms. But I wanted something very long, and I really wanted something that I could fold the brim over my ears and keep my ears really warm, but I didn't want it to be too hot on the top of my head. That's a problem I have with a lot of my ears are what get cold, not the top of my head. But I need something on the top of my head just to stay warm and kind of when I'm out in the mornings. So I wanted a really deep rib to cover my ears where I could double layer it, but have a moderately dense fabric on the top of the hat. And this was perfect. I've already reviewed, there's a Premier Bloom review. I will leave it in an iCard or something. Love this yarn. Love the colors of it. I do have an affiliate link with Premier down below. We will hopefully have an order from them next week because I got some things I want to talk to you about that too. We got some projects coming up that I'm excited about. But yeah, I love the Premier Bloom. I already knew I wanted to use this. I'd actually mentioned it before. I have more of this yarn just because I love it. And then I have it in other colors because I just love it. Ulta's trying to get me to buy something. So, what else is in my basket? I finished my 2021 Cozy Murder Mystery Cowl blanket. So I have been telling you guys from the beginning, I was doing 2 blocks of each thing. I wanted 1 variegated, 1 solid each month. No repeats. So I did end up having to go buy a couple variegateds, believe it or not, because I ran out. Because I just didn't have that many variegateds. And what I did have that I didn't use were like things where I've got 3 balls, which is more than enough to do another full project with. So I didn't want to like break up the set. So I did have to go buy a couple one-off skeins from Michael's, which is actually why I ended up. But this is done. I will share a picture of it laid out up here. Very, very excited about that. I still need my sock blockers, so I'm going to leave these in here. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to keep the blanket or donate it because I really love it. But I can always make another one. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. All right. Last thing to share. And I will have only been filming videos for an hour and a half. I won another prize. So last show and tell I shared with you guys the bag I won from Christy Christy Hudson doing the Cozy Murder Mystery Cowl. And by the way, Christy Hudson's channel and stuff will be, the blog will be linked down below. She's posting the patterns on her blog with the book recommendation every month, but T Doddles does have a YouTube channel as well. So please check out Christy Hudson's channel as well. I don't want to forever, but last time I shared, this is like the T Doddles video. Anyway. I'll have a bag from her coming soon too. So I won the prize for her for the random drawing for finishing the September and October blocks and getting those shared on the Facebook group. Well, I also won December's random drawing from Yarn Joy. Terry has been doing a share your ball band thing, and I won December's. So she sent me this absolutely precious little project bag. Or a little makeup bag, notions pouch. Look at the kitties. Because of course I love kitty cats. Sweet card, which is mine. And then I also got a row counter. Which, believe it or not, I don't have any of these. So, we'll see how it works for me. I like the longer ones that come on the cord. I like the idea of those better. I take it back. I have an abacus style bracelet that I have tried using it. I'm just not very good at remembering to. So, yeah. It's been, yeah, I'm sorry to sit here and babble. It's been a lot going on. It's been a lot of random stuff. Nothing's been, it's like I was telling my neighbor that I walk with every morning, kind of need a little homeostasis. We need just a little homeostasis in our lives would be nice. I don't need to pick that up right now. That goes to the guest room. Doesn't go upstairs. My basket goes back upstairs with me. Yeah, so you guys, as always, if you have any questions, please leave a comment in the description box down below. Feel free to reach out by email or Instagram. I'm generally available. I do try to reply to everybody quickly. Sometimes messages get buried, and I do apologize. I'm not ignoring anybody. If I miss your message, just poke me and be like, hey, did you lose me in the shuffle? But yeah. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on the yarn weight situation, I'd be more than happy to do a dedicated video on it, but it is, I get your frustration. And I've had a couple of you guys reach out. I get your frustration. I feel you on it. Solidarity with this one. I know as a new crocheter and knitter, it is a very frustrating thing where you can't meet gauge because you think you have the right size yarn, but you don't. And it is a problem. It is very, very frustrating. And I agree. I agree. I wish more people would go back to the standard, calling it by the name and using the reps per inch, because it was a lot simpler and a lot easier and a lot less frustrating than what we're seeing now with this 1 through, like I said, I think it's 7. It used to only be 1 through 5, and then it was 1 through 6. And now I think there's like that mega jumbo stuff is now a 7, or some companies are just calling their yarn a 7 when basically you may as well call it like a shipping rope. It's a mooring rope. Yeah. So if you have any more questions, if there's something you want me to do a crafty chat about, leave me a message down below, shoot me an email, send me a message on Instagram. I'm always open to suggestions for the content you guys are interested in seeing, or things that you want to hear my opinion on. My opinion is like everybody else's opinion. They're like armpits. Most of them stink. But if you're interested in my opinion, I'd be more than happy to share with you guys. As always, I love you. I look forward to seeing you guys, and I can't wait for the video I have planned for you guys for next Tuesday. Bear with me, though. We have the wrap up of the Tangle Poets 2021 Advent Calendar coming up on Saturday, which I'm not mad. Like, don't take it that way. I'm not mad. There might be some unexpected things going on. Dude, what the heck? Okay, just for the record, I don't have a filter on my thing. There's no filter set up on that. Sorry. Bear with me on this one. Where are my wrinkles? I can feel them. All right. Yeah, so I don't have an intentional filter on here. I just looked at my face for the first time and realized, hey, wait a minute. Because it even looks like it's blending out my gray hairs. I can see the streak, but it looks more blonde than gray. My makeup's good, but it ain't that good. Like I told you guys, I got wrinkles. I'm really surprised these aren't showing up. I can vaguely see these. Anyway. Like I said, it was either today or in Saturday's video. I'm not as crazy as you think I am, or maybe I am. All right, you guys. I love you. I will see you guys real soon. Please take care of yourselves. I will see you soon.